the sentiments that are coming out is because the people of Kenya would like an explanation and information on the deployment. I want to promise on behalf of government that on a matter as monumental as this one, the government will be transparent and will provide as much information to the people of Kenya as possible so that we carry the country alongside. It is not just a decision you make and just enforce it. So I agree fully. Now, the Honorable Kaluma asked about the relations between Haiti and the US and made the comments he made and asked why the US was the sponsor of the resolution that was adopted. But from where we sit, you know, we don't control the UN procedures. And for us, what mattered, because it was a condition, when the request was made, we put a condition that we cannot allow deployment as Kenya unless it has legal backing of the United Nations Security Council. So we could not control who brings the resolution, but we were careful to get approval. Members and the country may want to know that out of the 15 members of the National UN Security Council, none of them opposed. There were only 2 members that abstained, Russia and China. And even the abstentions were not opposed to the deployment or the leadership of Kenya in the mission. They just required, their delegations were requiring more details, which have since been provided. And members may want to know that as we speak, even the 2 members of the UN Security Council that abstained from taking the vote are supporting the mission in terms of resources and so forth. The other question was on which countries. The process is ongoing. As I said, it's still at the preliminary stage, but the countries that have offered to provide troops include Burundi, Senegal, Mauritius, Chad, Paraguay, Cuba, and Grenada as we speak. But the diplomatic engagements are ongoing. But from that corner, and Chile, sorry, I forgot, Chile from CARICOM countries. In fact, the entire membership of the regional intergovernmental organization to which Haiti belongs is called CARICOM. The entire membership of CARICOM countries is in support of this mission, the neighbors of Haiti. But in terms of countries which have offered to give troops, Chile, Paraguay, Cuba, and Grenada have offered to provide troops, to give it a regional support. But the entire
to give troops or police.
Those are sentiments. You know, this is a deployment, and therefore troops as used in this, and I suspect why the Honorable Kaluma is asking that question is because of the answer I'm about to give on the other question he asked. Let me say that they will give that number of officers. Chile, Paraguay, Grenada, Cuba have already offered to provide officers for deployment. The other question was on the use of the word forces in Article 240, paragraph 8, which I think is semantic, because we deliberately avoided using the word force just for sentimental reasons as a country, because of the experience Kenyans had, and they decided the Kenya Police Force will be called Kenya Police Service, and the reasons were given. For all intents and purposes, the organs of national security, once look at the organs, the deployment of organs of national security, be they KDF, NPS, or NIS, because even for the NIS, which is the most reclusive of the organs of national security, it may be necessary for national security strategic interests to do external deployment because of external and internal intelligence needs of the country. So our interpretation is that the word forces there is not limited to the Kenya Defence Forces. If that was the intention, the drafters of Article 240 would have said so. Number two, if it was not the intention, the definitional provisions of either that article or Article 260, which provides for the definitions of ambiguous terms, would have provided for the meaning of the word forces. But that is tautology. It's neither here nor there. The other question was about a court, whether there is a court order. Yes, there is a court order. The court order, in our view, does not address itself to the issue of deployment. Neither has it, or rather, the only issue that it addresses itself to is the issue of deployment. That before deployment is done, the matter in court should be heard and determined. That's it. It has not said nobody should talk about it. It has not said we should not prepare for it. It has not said we should not train. It has not said we should not request Parliament to consider and approve. It has just said before the deployment, the matter will have taken shape or something like that.
Chair, I asked that question because of the sub judice rule. And so the question was, what is the case in court about, so that in a
said before deployment, the matter in court should have been canvassed. That's it. Then there was the question of, again, Sondu. Up to now, 10 suspects have been arrested and are being processed for prosecution. On the question of temporary emergency, reference was made on temporary emergency. I think, again, those are terms that can be interpreted either way, because the current situation of Haiti is a situation in its current shape, which began in 2021 when the president was assassinated and the prime minister, who had just been appointed, had not even started discharging his functions. So right now it's a temporary emergency, because at the moment as we speak, even the mandate of the legislature and the government has actually lapsed. So technically, it's a country in limbo. So it's a temporary emergency, as opposed to a situation where it is the same Haiti with the gangs, with all the violence, but there is a government which is in place. The other thing is on political leaders, again on Sondu. Before I go to Sondu, there was the issue of what should have come first. Is it the commitment to deploy, or is it first the legal procedures locally? And the answer is, what has happened is the right procedure. The request must first come from the international legal system to our legal system. And therefore, the commitment by the executive to deploy is within the law, in the sense that technically that commitment, of course, is made subject to the meeting of the constitutional procedures. So I see no harm. And that's why we have institutions of governance. So likewise, the National Security Council will transmit the request to Parliament, and the executive have no control on what Parliament decides. If Parliament decides, on the contrary, that is an outcome of democratic processes. I see no embarrassment, no diplomatic issue there. It is part of our democracy, and we must learn to respect the democracy of our legal order which we have adopted for ourselves. The other issue is on what action has been taken on law enforcement officers who may not have acted. That is something maybe the IG and the Commission can help us with. But as a general policy issue, it is not going to be tenable anymore to transfer an officer who has failed to act within the law to discharge their mandate. Because transferring an officer from one place, one station to another is transferring a problem. We must find ways as a country of taking more grievous action on such people. But let me put this in context as I perhaps wind up, that majority of the police officers in this country do a great job. I have been in the field almost in all the regions of our country. But we do have officers within our ranks who have swelled the reputation of their colleagues. And those are the ones we must address. I am a very proud security minister when I see some of the sacrifices young and talented police officers are making in the fight against terror in northern Kenya, in Lamu, in North Rift. Some of them have paid the ultimate price by losing their lives, losing their limbs in the defense of our country. We need to applaud our police officers and stand with them and their families. And it is wrong for us as a country to condemn our men and women in uniform wholesomely, because I have been there, I've seen what they go through. This weekend, we have lost an officer just here in Nairobi, and that answers the question about the risks in Haiti. Our officers, the nature of security worldwide, in any country in the world, there is an element of risk. We lose, and not just in Kenya, many countries around the world, even the safest, we end up having, perhaps the difference is in the numbers, but we all have these incidents where by bad luck, because of the nature of the work, you'll have a police officer injured or sometimes succumb to the fire of the enemy. Therefore, the DCI, for example, we had some officers doing an operation in Kasarani just this weekend, and dangerous robber who had caused a lot of mayhem around Kisii, Migori, ran away, was cornered somewhere in their own house, opened fire at officers using their family members, their wife, his wife and children. And because of the delicate nature, the thug ended up shooting 3 officers, 2 in the abdomen, 1 in the leg. But we were fortunate he was fell down in that operation. Now the 3 officers, 1 of them has succumbed yesterday. 2 others are fighting for their life. So I have so many incidents of police officers who have done, there is no greater sacrifice. And there are many. Every year we celebrate, we commemorate the fallen heroes who have died in the line of duty. I have restrained myself and the IG have restrained ourselves from shedding tears when you see young families of our officers who have lost their lives defending our country. So the few crooked officers who are tarnishing reputation of the National Police Service, we must uproot them from the service. And there are no 2 ways about it. Reforms, we hope, will help us get there, but I admit we have a few who are getting into cahoots with criminals. And those ones, we must be very ruthless with them. And I want to leave that matter there, including those who go to open bars in areas where they have been posted, and butcheries, and marrying local wives. How do you arrest your father-in-law if you have already married from the village there and you are a law enforcement officer? So I think IG could say something and then we end it there. But we are doing our best. I know the challenges are many. A question has been asked even about Lamu, what is happening in Lamu. And Northeastern is a matter that is giving us sleepless nights, and we must get that matter under control. We'll be circulating a number of terror suspects anytime from now. We will be asking for rewards. Those people can help us apprehend those suspects. And we'll be asking those suspects to surrender to the nearest police station. And if they don't surrender, so that we process them for prosecution, we shall go and look for them.
Chair, a point of just clarity, short point. Waziri, I asked whether form or administrative issue. I asked that, Chair, deliberately because for the last 25 years, we have had the police reforms going on. We have had several commissions, and I'm sure CS you have come across. But one thing that has not been addressed is action, is the administrative action to ensure that what these commissions and the procedures that are in place, including the standing operating procedures and the laws, are put in place. So even the task force currently, it's on that background I was asking that question. I would have wished you commented. Chair.
Maybe I can ask that. I think is the man of that space.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Honorable Chair. I'll be very brief. Maybe as I answer the issue raised by Honorable Kawunya, maybe on behalf of my CS, as I answered the question by Honorable Sigei, is to appreciate Honorable Sigei for the compliments, for my CS having been rated the best, and associate myself with that good performance. Now, Honorable Chair, Honorable Kawunya.
Chair, Honorable Sigei was so out of order. I don't know why you didn't reprimand him. Yeah. But we cannot compliment our CS before the nation. We oversight him.
Alone, it's not shared compliments.
Well, Honorable Chair, thank you.
Chair, whether we are commended or not, we'll continue with what we can do. Thank you. We take it with all humility.
We are just saying take it with all humility, but it's your performance, an individual performance, not shared with
Honorable Chair, the matter raised by Honorable Kawunya is contentious. Because today, when we discuss security issues, it's indeed very sensitive. We need to be very careful. We don't compromise the operations of the National Police Service. Because as we sit here, there are officers right at our border with Somalia, performing a very important, very delicate function. Because there are those officers who are there discharging maybe a specialized function. Therefore, could be a reform issue, administrative, but a bit tricky. It is a matter, I'm careful, or now I respond a chair. Allow me to stop at that.
Yeah, Chair, allow him to stop at that. I think let us deal with that issue in a future date in that other matter.
I agree, Chair. It may be in the camera. Honorable Cherule, she talked about misconduct of officers. Honorable members, I would like to start by assuring you, as I answer that question, that we have decided as the command of the National Police Service, with the DIGs, the DCI, we must lead by example. We do nothing else other than policing. And those are the clear instructions we have issued to officers. Anybody involved in other business, illegal activities, there is no compromise. Therefore, I take maybe advantage of this opportunity to request members of the public, call us. Any officer involved in any malpractice, involved in illegal business, we shall take firm and decisive action. I think that's all. I think all other issues were addressed by the CS. Thank you, Chair.
While you are still at that, but IG, and I want you to be just straight to the point. As it is currently, as per the regulation in the National Police Service, do you need to have to enforce the Maraga reform to transfer officers who overstayed in a particular station? You don't. It's a straight no. Because when I CS, there's no justification whatsoever unless somebody serving somebody somewhere's interest. You have our officer, a police officer, staying more than 7, 6, 10 years in a given station, especially in our leadership. They will get familiarities. They will start engaging in some business. That is now the people who will engage in banking and all that. And I think you have said it repeatedly, time and again. And we really don't see point and reason why we keep speaking and talking. We still have enough officers who are overstayed in a given station across the country. And I think what we like from the mood of the members, the issue of transfers and the policies regards to transfers, I think is a matter that we are not very satisfied with. Is a matter that we are not convinced. And I think we'll look another time specifically to address the issue of transfers and promotion. As a committee, we are not very much convinced. Meanwhile, submit the detailed report on promotion to the committee so that on behalf of Kenyans, we can able to see how balanced it was in terms of region, gender, and the rest. Otherwise,
Doubt when his questions were being answered.
Kaluma, order.
What is it?
Order. You're a high-ranking member.
No, he's telling me about his cars.
Even the chair's not finished, eh? The chair's still on the chair and speaking. So on this one, IG, I think we don't even need to have the CS covering you on that. The issue of promotion is specifically and purely your mandate and role. We will look another time on that because Kenyans are not really convinced. Even in my own county, I know officers who have stayed more than 12 years. And others even say they're untouchable. I don't know whether they're being protected for whichever reason. You get officers who are in hardship. And I know because I'm the chair, when I was there, some members even have reached me trying to ask me to help them. Including even Kaluma here, a brother or a next of kin who have stayed more than 8 years, just on the pretext that is a specialized unit, they have to stay and suffer in hardship area, in particular station, for 6 or so years. I think there's no justification whatsoever. And we can do when IG better than this. So, members, Kaluma, what is it, please? Because we need to...
Yes, Chair. Kaluma's briefed me that my question was answered to his satisfaction.
And we have just 2 seconds.
Yes, Chair, give me 1 minute. Chair, I just want to thank the CS and Chair. I also want to inform you that I have informed the Speaker to extend the time for you because I told him the CS was engaged for long at the Senate. And the Speaker is aware that you are still here with the Waziri. whose time is also precious with the IG. Chair, looking at me, Chair, I was not born black like this. But this has been caused by the situation and the circumstances I told you I went through. Chair, I had a very good, promising future when I graduated from the prestigious Faculty of Law of the University of Nairobi. And at that time, like every Luo,
we've given you 2 seconds.
I opted,
Aduma.
Chair, just give me,
please.
Nimebaki now 10 seconds. You remember the IG was my classmate at the university, and I deserve some time. Chair, when I left that time then, Chair, my first car then was a Mercedes-Benz. That was my first car in life. And Chair, I decided not to marry until I got a colored TV and a house in a good neighborhood, because that was the only ticket in which you would get a good wife if you are a Luo. Chair, as it stands now, you recall when I started working, I was driving a 280 Mercedes, but now I've degenerated to a small Toyota, which is down
Aduma,
here,
please.
And that is because of the... No,
please.
It is, Chair. It is. It is because of the situation.
You had come when we almost, the chair was actually joining the meeting.
Chair, at this point, having started with that, when I'm visiting a friend like you or the CS, I'm just supposed to be asking for a pin to be dropped for me to end there in a chopper, not driving a Toyota. So I hope if my situation is improved, I'll be able to improve that and get back to where I'm supposed to be. Thank you, Chair, for the indulgence.
So, what was serious, we close. Kindly, I think, Aduma, you had seen very voluminous papers, yes. I think I consider it might be important for you to have one-on-one and probably even go through this material. They may be helpful in looking into the matters addressing the Sondu border issue. So kindly, Aduma, you need to have these documents given to the CS. Lastly, you don't need to order, Kaluma, order. You don't need, it's no response on this. We just noted that some of your submission were oral. You can kindly do some written submission on the same. I just want also to inform you that there's a letter written to your office in regards to these committee visits to Turkana, Samburu, Isiolo. Maybe have it transmitted, which has been rescheduled. But on the same note, I want also to report with a lot of joy that you know this committee is out to help you and the ministry to attain peace in the country. Out of this committee and the support from the ministry, the visit in Samburu, Laikipia, they were torn areas, prone areas, been in relative peace. You must have been briefed. This committee, we embodied the local leadership from all the speaking, including the governor and local members of parliament. They're actually present on the ground, trying to initiate cultural-related manner of reconciliation, which goes a long way to help you in achieving the much desired peace. So you relate to the same to the officers. They have been so much helpful another time we visit. So I think the Vice had also had an issue to do with the sub-counties. You have been launching the sub-counties of late, a lot of them. And I don't know what had happened about some prioritization. Maybe, I don't know whether you're specific to a particular sub-county.
Thank you very much, Chair. Here's a quick one. I believe you have been commissioning sub-counties, quite a few of them, most which were gazetted in 2017, 2021, 22. I believe for this committee, what is outstanding is sub-counties and also locations and sub-locations. There are a lot of questions that both the constituents and our colleagues are asking. Could you fast track and also try to share with us some of what could be on your desk so that we can tell our colleagues and even our members here to prepare accordingly. Thank you, Chair.
So maybe you can respond to that one as you close. So I want to say on behalf of this committee and Kenyans, it was a good moment to really tell Kenya what is happening, more so regarding to some security issues like Sondu and Lamu and the rest, and of course the very hot issue on Haiti. And it's a monumental matter, as you put it. So we want to appreciate. We're more enlightened. Let's keep talking. Let's keep updating ourselves on how we are moving forward until maybe the moment that it will be able to be transmitted to the both houses. On the issue of security and your continuous effort try to make Kenya safe, this committee, as always, we are always there to support you, especially in terms of resource allocation and doing legislative proposal, wherever we are needed and called for, because that is what we have been elected for. So thank you so much. Maybe you can have 1 or 2 minutes to do your remarks and respond to the Vice concern.
Thank you, Chair. In response to the by the Vice Chair and member for SACCO, there are sub-counties and other lower level administrative units that were gazetted mainly in 2017 and some 2022, which have not been operational for reasons of budget, among other things. It's budget constraints. We have made a decision that no sub-county or other administrative units that have been gazetted will be lost, and we will go out of our way to look for resources to operationalize all of them. I want to commit that all the sub-counties that were gazetted and not operationalized, and by the time I took over office in this ministry, there were 28. We have reduced that number now to about 21, but we are going to make sure that all those sub-counties will be operationalized this financial year. Initially, we wanted to do it on a 3-year phased program, but we decided first to finish with the sub-counties because they are quite critical for service delivery. But over the 3-year period, we want to make sure that even the lower level units, we will also bring them, we'll also have them operationalized, giving foremost priority to areas that are prone with insecurity, because these units have a direct contribution to the security of the areas where they've been created. So in terms of the outstanding sub-counties, we shall operationalize all of them this financial year, and we have the money to do so. 2 final remarks, Chair, is to thank you on my behalf, on behalf of the Inspector General Police and the senior officers from the Ministry of Interior. We thank you for being patient with us and engaging with us. The second and last remark is to thank you, Chair, and the committee for supporting our ministry and the organs and institutions in our ministry with budget support and making a case for us. And we do take the critique that you give us as positive support so that we can improve on the services that we offer to the people of Kenya as we work together towards a secure nation. Finally, is a plea that, and I'm not saying it's happening, but you are part of our ambassadors in this sector. It's just to encourage the nation and our people that we tried and minimize politicizing security matters And that doesn't mean we should not be criticized, but we should minimize politicization of security. We try our best to do what is good for our country and not get engaged in sectarian and political divisions. Thank you.
So thank you so much for appearing, and remember